slanging on the block. I'm gonna tell you once and listen, son. As long as I'm alive and breathing, you won't take my guns.
Greetings, this is Spec Ops 56, coming to you once again from Reloading Bench number 1 here in the Man Cave. Now today is Tuesday the 17th, and over this last weekend, the 14th and 15th, I had a table at the local South Carolina State Fairgrounds gun show. Mostly I had it because I needed to get rid of some excess stuff that I had, some things I no longer needed, clean out some drawers and closets and such as that. And also I was sharing the table with a friend of mine who has designed and sells the Lead Life merchandise. And in fact, here's a picture of me at the table at the gun show on Sunday. Now, I thought that I would go ahead and do a little video here showing you my little gun show haul, as it were. Some interesting things that I picked up for myself at the show. And nothing major, not a whole lot of stuff, but just one or two items that I thought that I could find useful. And I thought you might be interested in seeing it and seeing what I got and why. So let's start looking at all the goodies. Alright, well, one of the first things is I got another little package of Quick Clot Combat Gauze. This gauze is treated with a substance that will pretty much make your bleeding stop and clot it up. It basically turns to jelly. And I've got some of this already, but I figured that it never hurts to get a little bit of extra for the first aid kit. So that was that. And along the same lines, I got this this combat individual tourniquet. It's similar to the CAT tourniquet used by the U.S. military, but it's more of a commercial version. Not as heavy duty, but then I don't expect to be fighting in the mountains of Afghanistan. So, and I also have other items of this sort that are military issue. So there again, I figured a little extra for the medical supplies never hurts. Now another thing I got, and I've been seeing YouTube videos about this particular brand of freeze-dried storage food, and there was a table there with a couple that were selling some of this stuff, and that's the Thrive brand freeze-dried survival storage food. And so I've been wanting to try some to see how it stacks up to the ones I'm familiar with, like Mountain House and Alpine and various other brands. And so I picked out a bag of creamy beef and noodles and chili lime chicken and rice. That's one's an entree, the other's a side. Although to me this seems like it could just as well be an entree. This in fact, is what John, my official cameraman and taste tester, and I are going to be having for lunch today. So we will be doing this taste test live on camera later in this video. Now, the one thing about these that are already different from the Mountain House brand, as well as some of the other brands that I'm not, I'd consider a minus, is the fact that these are not designed to be rehydrated and cooked in the package. According to the directions, these have to be pretty much have to be cooked over a stove in a pot. So we're going to do that. That's a downside as far as being able to take it with you in a go bag. But it wouldn't be a downside so much if you just got them for home use. So anyway, we're going to be cooking these up, and we're going to do a taste test, and when it's time for lunch. So put those back here. I can say that if it's anything like the pictures, it looks really good. So, and the last thing I got is I happened to run across something that I thought was pretty neat, and that is some old magazines from 1984, 83, 84, the early 80s. This is some magazines from back then called Gung Ho, the magazine for the International Military Man. Now, this magazine, I remember it, and basically this was the real only major competition to Soldier of Fortune magazine. Obviously, it didn't last very long, but it was a really good magazine, and it had some really nice, interesting articles on the military operations in the past, as well as the various conflicts that were going on around the world back in the 80s. So it's pretty interesting. Now, you might ask, what does basically Soldier of Fortune mercenary magazine have to do with prepping? Well, for the most part, not very much. However, you can find useful survival prepping information in some of the most unlikely places. So don't discount these types of magazines. I only paid $1 a piece for them. And while most of this reading is for entertainment, I did run across in some of these issues some articles that could be very useful for a prepper in a survival situation. Some things like this one, for instance, has a very good article on survival medicine for POWs. Now, while you might not become a POW, although there is a possibility that you might, this type of article does have some very good information in it. This information comes, this is not theoretical, this comes from former POWs who have survived POW camps, and it talks about the types of medical problems that you're going to run into in any kind of primitive survival situation. And things like how to treat beriberi in a survival situation where you're not getting enough to eat. Beriberi is a vitamin deficiency brought on disease, and can be very painful and very devastating. And while you may have your year's supply of food, well, what happens when the stuff hits the fan and it's a year and 6 months later, and you've already eaten up all of your year's supply of food? and everything in your area that could be hunted and eaten already has been. Okay, you could run into these types of malnutrition problems, and so it would be good to know how you treat a case of beriberi when you don't have medical facilities, medicines, vitamins, and proper nutrition. Well, in this case, the way the POWs did it was they gathered up all the weeds they could find, they'd boil them up in water, and then they would eat them as much as they could. And pretty soon, the beriberi would go away. So that's an example of the type of thing that you could learn in an old Soldier of Fortune type magazine like this. There are other things that you could learn. For instance, this one has information on POW secret communication methods. Well, you may or may not become a POW, but if it turns out that all the evidence about FEMA re-education camps turns out to be true, this is some information that could be very, very useful to you. So my point is don't automatically discount something that isn't obvious as not being useful for learning something that could be useful in prepping and survival. As a prepper, you need to be very flexible, and best not to have preconceived notions about what you can and cannot use. All right, well, that was my gun show score. Oh, and just a note, for those of you who have been following my my videos concerning my Kahr CW9 break-in saga, I just want to let you know that the very first thing that I sold off my table at the gun show this weekend was my Kahr CW9. And yes, I told the buyer the entire sordid story. I advised him to go to my channel and look at the videos, and I showed him all the paperwork from Kahr, and I made sure he understood what the problems were, and I made him a good price. He bought it, he was happy, I was happy, and that's the end of that story. And now, the continuation of this story is, we're going to go and we're going to cook up some Thrive survival food and tell you how it is. So we will be back shortly. Okay. All right, the directions say for the creamy beef and noodle entree is to boil some water, gives how much on the package, and it says to take and whisk in the contents of the package after you remove the oxygen absorber. And so that's what I'm going to do. Got my whisk. And now I see why it says whisk it in. Lots of powder for the flavoring. And then it says next thing is to reduce the heat to simmer uncovered. So that's just what I'm doing. And we will allow it to simmer. We give it a little more whisking until the heat gets down so it doesn't overflow. Now it's starting to look right. Already doesn't smell too bad. Okay, now the other one takes less time to cook and simmer. So we'll come back to it. We just started the water on the heat for it, so that we're trying to time these so they'll come out at approximately the same time. And so we'll be back when the other one is boiling, and we'll put the side dish into the pot. Okay, now we're going to dump the chili, lime, chicken, and rice into the smaller pot. It come to a boil, but it takes less time to cook. It says to simmer it for 7 minutes after whisking it in. So that's what I'm going to do. Oops, yep. And this you do not whisk in with the food. That's the oxygen absorber. You got to remember that. The Galloping Gourmet, I am not. So let's whisk this in here. Good. Yeah, you definitely want to use a whisk because there is a good bit of powder in these things for its flavoring and sauce. And we need to lower this heat to a simmer. And this one simmers for 7 minutes. Now, hopefully, these two will be done at approximately the same time. You have to let them stand for a few minutes when they're done. And as soon as they're done and ready to eat, then we'll come back and we will show you what they look like when they're done, and we'll do the taste test. So I'll see you then. Okay, we're back. The cooking time and standing time is done. And this will give you an idea of what it looks like compared to the picture. I have to say the creamy beef and noodles doesn't look a thing like the picture. And another thing we found, the directions called for using 3 1/4 cup of water. That makes it too soupy, as you can see. So I would recommend that you try it with maybe just 3 cups of water and see if it thickens it up enough like it should be. So that's kind of unexpected. I thought it would come out thicker. So that's something you'll have to play with. And now we'll take a look at the chili, lime, chicken, and rice. And as you can see, it looks a whole lot closer to the picture than the other one, and the amount of water it called for seemed to be just right. So we're going to dish some of this out here in a second and tell you how it tastes. Okay, it's time for the taste test. I'll get some here for John. This is definitely a lot soupier than it ought to be. And John can put his rice on there. And I'll get some, okay, put a little bit more there. A little of this for me. Alright, now let's try the stroganoff first. Whatever, the creamy beef and noodles.
It's not bad. Noodles are done. What do you think of the seasoning?
I think it's very flavorful. It's a very mild flavor. The one thing I will say is that there's very little actual beef in here, It's nothing like the big chunks you see here in this picture. They're, let's see if I can find one. They're like little, I mean, probably won't even be able to tell it on the camera, but they're very little tiny pieces, like little chunks of ground beef almost, but they're extremely small. So this is just, this isn't beef and noodles. This is noodles with a little bit of beef. Okay, so we'll say that. Now let's try the chili chicken and rice, and I can now with this they call that the side dish, and this beef and noodles the entree. I would have done it the other way around, because you can see this big chunk of chicken. The chunks of chicken in here are like they are on the picture. They're big chunks. It's not little tiny pieces like in this beef stroganoff stuff. Let's see how it tastes.
And to me, it seasons just right. This is one that looks like the picture on the label.
Okay. Tasted good. I will say, I think it needs to simmer a little bit longer for the chicken, because these are big chunks of chicken, and mine that I just bit into are still a bit hard. It was like it's 90% rehydrated. So I think a few more minutes of simmering will get the chicken much more tender. Otherwise, as far as the rice and the flavor goes, there again, it's a very mild flavor, I think. What about you?
I agree. To me, it seasons just right. Right flavorful.
Now, some of the rice kernels are a little crunchy, so I would recommend that you simmer it longer than what the instructions say. So I guess the bottom line lessons here are that you use less water when making the creamy beef and noodles, and simmer the chili, lime, chicken, and rice for a few minutes longer than the instructions say, and everything should come out just about right. And none of it is overly spiced. It's very mild. You might even want to add a little bit more spice to yours for your taste. But this should be edible by just about anybody in your family because of that reason. So on that basis, for emergency storage food, I think I could recommend it. And I believe I'll probably be ordering some more in the larger cans for some to add to my storage, because I like to have variety. You can't have too much variety when it comes to food. So what are your thoughts?
I agree on the same thing. I'd like to get a few of these packs and just put them back just in case you need them sometime. And they are good.
Okay, well that's the end of my gun show haul and taste testing video. And I thank everybody for watching. I hope you found some useful information in this. And I'll see you next time. This is Spec Ops 56 and Guinea Pig John saying over and
out.
You better start packing a handgun.